Download is one of the biggest rock and metal festivals in the world. Located at Donington Park in the heart of England, Download hosts up to 110,000 people each year who come on a pilgrimage to experience a place acknowledged by some of the biggest bands of all time as the home of heavy metal. If you're making the journey to the hallowed grounds this year, then here is your ultimate guide to Download Festival 2025. Download Festival takes place over 5 days across the second full weekend in June. This year, it all starts on Wednesday the 11th and ends on Monday the 16th, with the music itself taking place on the Friday, Saturday and Sunday in between. The festival is held at Donington Park Racetrack, nestled between the three Midland cities of Derby, Nottingham and Leicester. It's right next door to East Midlands Airport, more about that later on, and just south of the village of Castle Donington. If you're planning on driving to Download, then there are 3 car parks which you need to head towards: West Car Park, North Car Park and South Car Park. Now this map does look a little bit confusing, so we'll go through it in a minute. If you're going to West Car Park, the what 3 words is historic.pillow.motorist, and I'll put that on screen right now so you can see it properly. North Car Park has the what 3 words cheese.shielding.crew, and again that'll be on screen right now. And South Car Park, which is for arena only tickets, has the what 3 words partners.implemented.stand. So let's have a look at this map then, because it can be a little bit confusing. What they're saying this year, they said the same last year as well. Any general camping, and that includes eco camping as well, goes to North Car Park. Everything else camping wise, apart from VIP and other stuff like that, which we'll come to, it needs to go to West Car Park. So if you look at all the arrows on this map, everything looks a little bit confusing. For example, if you're coming from Stoke-on-Trent, Liverpool, Manchester, in the top left corner here, you'll follow the purple route along the A50, and you will go to Donington and then turn off and come through there to North Car Park. If you're in quiet camping or mini moshers, which is the family camping, or lone wolf camping, or if you have a motorbike, then if you were coming from that same way, you'd follow the sky blue path here through the back roads, which is the way that we normally go. Come through here, through Melbourne, and then you'll go to West Car Park. Now, with all this being said, they said the same exact thing last year, and a lot of people just went to West Car Park anyway, and they were allowed in. Now, this year, I don't know whether they're going to be more strict with these rules, but I can imagine there being a similar situation whereby people will just tend to go to whatever car park they're closest to. Obviously, the mini moshers and the quiet camping are already on that side, so everybody going to those campsites will go to that route anyway. So it can be a little bit confusing, so let's go through some of the other routes, right? So if you're in, for example, eco general camping, and you're coming from Leicester, London, the M1 northbound, in the bottom right corner here, you'll be along the red route, so you'll be going up the M1 and you'll just turn off nice and easy to Castle Donington and then go through that same route. It misses out Castle Donington village entirely, so there's no traffic going through the village centre. You just follow that route and it snakes round into North Car Park. But let's say, for example, that you're coming from Sheffield or Leeds or Scotland or somewhere, and you're looking for the quiet camp or the mini moshers camp. So you'd come down the M1 along this pink route, and then this is where it gets confusing. So a lot of the traffic would want to be turning off into North Car Park here, and you don't want to do that. You want to follow the M1 straight down to the A42, I believe it is. Turn round on that main road on the A42, come back on yourself, and then head north straight back up into Melbourne. Snake round with this path where it meets the others, the yellow and the sky blue one, and then head to West Car Park. So really, if you're coming from Leeds, let's say, and you're looking for the quiet camp, you've got quite a long way to go all the way around the site and back on yourself. So maybe set off a little bit earlier than planned, because you will have to go right the way around the site. Again, West Car Park is supposed to be just for the quiet camp, mini moshers, motorbikes and the lone wolf camping. A lot of people will probably just go to there because it's a lot easier than going to North Car Park. So I can see a situation where a lot of people will just go to West Car Park anyway. Some things are more straightforward than others, obviously, but there will be signs nearby and there will be stewards nearby to help guide you if you need anything. But looking at this map, there are, arrows going up and down and round and places. So make sure that you've studied this map before you set off, and then you know exactly where you need to go when you get there. And then the third car park, which is the South Car Park, is just for day and weekend arena access only. So this is a lot more easy to understand because there is only one entry point to the car park itself. So if you're, for example, coming from down south from Leicester or London or somewhere, you'll be heading up north on the M1. Now, you'll normally want to turn off at this junction by the airport and head straight along because the car park is at the other end of that road. But they're saying because of download traffic getting in the way of airport traffic the last few years, the airport aren't very happy with Download and the way they organise things. So they're telling people to go right up around the airport, around to the top of Castle Donington, turn off there, and again, come straight down through. Don't go through the village, you'll be able to cut round it so that there's no traffic. And then this route will bring you out at the other side of East Midlands Airport by the drop-off point. And if you remember from Downloads past, then this was the main car park by where they have the green bridge. I think they might still have the green bridge that you can cross over with. So South Car Park is basically just where the old main car park used to be. And that's just for all your day and weekend parking. Again, if you're coming from the south, then that light green route is fairly easy. And if you're coming from the north, they're saying don't go round through Melbourne. Just go to the top of Castle Donington and use that main route that goes through the village. If you're looking for access camping, then you'll need to head to Purple Gate. Now this has the what 3 words series.maple.committee, and again that'll be on screen for you right now so that you can see it. Fairly straightforward, except this time nobody is going to go through Castle Donington Village because that is going to be reserved for all the general camping. So let's say that you're coming from Derby, you'll follow the green route. Instead of coming through Castle Donington, go left, go round, and head straight down through the back roads, through Melbourne, and then follow the road to Purple Gate. Now this final bit of the road will line up with the queue for general camping, and that's why they're saying if all the general campers go to North Car Park, then there should be no queues for people trying to get through on the west side of the access to the site. If you're coming from the south, again, you might have the same issue. Again, if you follow the pink route from the north, from Leeds or Scotland, you will have to go all the way down, turn round at the next junction and come all the way back up. You can either go left or carry straight on up the A42 and then turn off at either one, and it brings you out to Purple Gate all the same. And if you're weekend arena only but you need access, then you want to head towards Blue Gate. This has the what 3 words of revealing.sting.twin, and this is basically where South Car Park is, but it's a little bit further up the road. So Ashby Road is the main road that connects East Midlands Airport. On one side of that, by the bottom of the roundabout, is going to be South Car Park, but you want to head along as if you're going into Donington Park itself, but there's going to be a turn off there, and that's going to be Blue Gate, so that's where you're going to want to head to, and then from there there'll be stewards to direct you to where to park up. Similar to last year, Future Gibby is here to bring you the map, because Download always leave it till the last minute. So moving around the site then, first of all you've got the red gate on this right hand side here, which is the pick-up and drop-off entrance. This is access to the transport hub for buses, coaches, taxis for pick-up and drop-off. So you'll go in the red gate and you'll come out of this grey exit, the pick-up and drop-off exit. The blue gate is for accessible day car park, accessible blue pick-up and drop-off, campervan plus entrance, and the buses and coaches entrance will also be here, and then they'll go down the path to the transport hub as well. So it basically just means that, you know, the buses and coaches and the pick up and drop off aren't kind of getting in each other's way. For access to Redgate, then you'll probably want to go straight through Castle Donington Village, because if you go around the outside of the village, that's where all the other traffic's being diverted to for North Car Park. So if you see up here, North Car Park entrance is at the very, very top here. So then South Car Park entrance, as we've just spoken about, the South Car Park is here. So the airport would be just on the right hand side here. The green gate is all the camper vans, and then the south entrance to the site will be straight into the arena there, nice and handy, so there's not too far to walk. Purple gate is the accessible campsite and accessible camper vans, so you'll want to come down that main road, and then that will be the actual access entrance to Donington Park. So it should look like an actual road entrance. There's a roundabout there, and that is where everyone crosses over to go to the arena from the main campsite. Blackgate is for all your motorbike parking, guest car parking, metal car park 1. The metal car park 2 gate is just before it on the main road there. So if you're in Thunder Valley or anything like that, Sleepy Hollow, Metal Meadow, the RIP gate will be here, but the parking for all the motorbike and the guest stuff will be further up by Blackgate there. Then over here you've got the West car park. So this is, again, supposedly it was for just the mini moshers, the quiet camp. Now, it doesn't actually say it on this updated map. They might have just listened to everyone last year and said, you know, we're going to go to West Car Park anyway. So it would make a lot of sense that they just said, do you know what, yeah, there's accessible parking near the entrance there. By the looks of it, they have opened both car parks to everybody, but the transport hub, the drop-off point, there is only one of those on the side of North Car Park. So if you are getting dropped off, then do not go to West Car Park because you'll just be getting in the way. You won't be allowed into the car park because you won't have bought your car parking pass. So let's look at the actual site itself then. What campsite should you go in? Well, obviously, if you're in quiet camping or the mini moshers, you're going to want to go here. So yellow camp is for quiet camping only, which you'll need a special ticket for. The mini moshers you'll need a special ticket for as well. Blue and black on this side are the general camping. Blue is, it's like a walk up the hill here. Where these are here, the campsite ranges and stuff like that. The facilities, that is like the top of the hill. And then on the other side here is a massive steep hill down. So we camped on the top of the hill here last year. It was nice and flat. Black camp, which you've got to walk through to get to the District X, which we'll talk more about in a minute. Black camp is fairly flat, but then next to this, the pink area is the guest campsite with guest car parking right next to it. That's kind of like its own separate segregated thing with a big fence up around it. Come over to this side of the site. Orange camp is infamous for being a nightmare on the hill. It's a nightmare to walk down, let alone try and camp on it. Every time I walk past it or walk through it, I think, how are people pitched their tents on that? How is that comfortable? But sometimes it needs must. This is the east entrance here, right by the transport hub. Right by there, straight away, you've got the red campsite. That is what used to be black camp. And then the north part of red campsite is what used to be pink camp. Now that is in a bit of a ravine, a bit of a valley. And that is where part of it flooded, part of the campsite flooded in 2016. There was like a river of rainwater running through. Purple camp, I'm not too familiar with. Now, a lot of people have said it can be a bit of a nightmare because the hill is quite steep. From what I can tell, Purple Camp is another one of those party camps. It's quite open, it's quite spacious. I couldn't comment on the actual terrain itself. If you've camped in Purple Camp before, let people know in the comments what it's like. Eco Camping and Camping Plus, which again you'll need special tickets for. So the Camping Plus with all your facilities right here, and the path from purple and red and orange walks right through between these two. And then this little tiny path here brings you out to District X. Straight away, if you come in from this entrance, you've got the doghouse, the big party tent. The doghouse is where, the Venga boys will be playing. Loads of other stuff. Food court area here, loads of rides. There's a massive seating area here for if you need to sit down for a bit. Unfortunately, I don't think it's undercover, or not much of it is undercover. Looking at this symbol, like an umbrella through the table, I think they are covered seats, but they're not all covered. So if it does rain, it might be a mad dash to get one of those. All your information hubs and water points and stuff like that. There's a bar there that's available along the site. And then if you follow it down here, you've got the Samaritans and the Oxfam charity shops. The Ace of Spades bar is along here. That's always a good laugh. I could be wrong, but I think that's where the silent disco is being held again this year. That was a load of fun last year. The Outpost, where they have the cooking stuff and the hot dog eating contest, that's all outdoors, and there's a big open field space here, so you can bring your camp chairs, watch some of the cooking demonstrations and other stuff like that that's going on throughout the weekend. And right next to it here, you've got the cinema screen. Again, I think this is going to be all open air, so if it does rain, you might not be the best idea to be sat out there. And then finally, you've got the den, which this line around it here is a big line of trees. It literally does feel like a den, but there is like a party tent in there as well with lots of fun stuff going on. And then in the lower part of District X here in the lighter green, now that lighter green means that if you have an arena ticket or just a day ticket, you will be allowed into this bit of District X only, but you won't be allowed into the darker bits. So you can go to the co-op, you can go to the Download Megastore, which is right next to it. That there where it's got the C in the shirt, that is your click and collect. So if you've ordered any merch online before the festival, this is where you'll go to pick it up. You've got Fat Franks there, charge candy if you need to pick up a power bank to charge your phone. A seance this year, Raven Records, Lost Property, there's showers there, and then a skate ramp as well. They're bringing the skate ramp back. So if you've got a day ticket or an arena ticket, you will be allowed into this part, but there will be like a fence and security there checking wristbands so that you can't go into the rest of District X or into any of the campsites. Next to District X, you've got the Refresh Retreat. So if you have booked a Refresh Retreat pass, which is your fancy toilets, your fancy showers, you need to go to the doghouse and come out of this exit here. And instead of going left and taking a walk down here towards the campsites, take a right, walk along here, which is basically along the racetrack, and it's inside the racetrack here. If you've booked Ready to Rock, which means you get there and your tent is already set up for you, then that's going to be in the middle of the racetrack, and there are going to be walkways through there which is going to be amazing for orange and red. Save them walking all the way around the racetrack to get to the arena. So there's the arena entrance. We'll talk about that more in a sec. So if you're in Ready to Rock or Campervan Plus, it's right there, right on your doorstep. Campervan Plus, again, you'll be able to access through Blue Gate, up the track there, and instead of going to the transport hub, you'll turn off, come across the racetrack, and then that's there. So not to be confused with the actual campervan site, that's just your general campervan in, and then the Campervan Plus, which has more amenities and stuff, is in the middle of the racetrack. So make sure you know which one you go into if you've booked it. So to get to the arena, if you're coming from District X, then you're going to want to go to the co-op, follow the path that kind of curves around here. There's literally only one way you can walk. Comes all the way down here to the arena entrance. And then as you come into the arena, on the left-hand side as you enter is the Welder's Yard. That is going to have lots of nice food options, a couple of bars, and the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is going to have a stall there this year. As you come in on the right-hand side of the arena entrance, then here is the medical tent. And make sure you know where the medical tent is, because something doesn't go wrong until it does. So if you do need it for an emergency, know exactly where you're going. It's the very top of the hill, right by the arena entrance. You can't miss it. As you come down the hill, you've got the big Ferris wheel there, right by the Safe Gigs for Women, and the Dogtooth stage on your right-hand side as you're coming down the hill. On this far side of the arena, you've got a couple of food vendors, another bar, toilets, and then the accessible entrance, if you are in the accessible campsite, is going to be here, right by the toilets and the other food vendors and stuff. A couple more rides, another skate park, another seating area, food vendors, water point, another bar. Then here is the apex stage, the main stage at the very bottom of the hill. You cannot miss it. Now, something I've noticed that's not on this map. In 2023, Metallica brought 6 towers as part of their stage show. And these had big screens on it and lights and stuff like that. And then last year they donated 4 of those towers to download. And they were really handy for using as meetup points, if anything. But they were actually marked on the map last year and they're not here. So that makes me think maybe they're not going to be there this year. Who knows? But a little tip, if they are there this year, then they are really handy for using as waypoints. So following the apex stage along here, you've got another bar, a couple more food vendors, more toilets. And then the entrance, if you're in the campervan area, that's going to be your arena entrance here by this bar. And then come through here, there's another seating area. This is going to be the lounge area. And again, another bar. I think that's more of a closed off area. Don't think it costs any more to get in there. It is more of like a first come, first serve thing. But I think it's a bit more of a chill out area, a bit calmer. There's a cocktail bar there, merch stall, other traders and stuff like that. There is a Guinness bar there. Unfortunately, Shane can't be there this year, but we'll split the G in his honour. And then all the way on the far side here, you've got the Avalanche stage hosted by Kerrang Radio. This is the 3rd stage, so this is the stage that McFly and Kids in Glass Houses, I think, are headlining. And then you've got this little path here to bring you back around to the Opus stage. You've got a couple more food vendors, water points, toilets, merch, and other traders, another seating area there, and another bar at the back there. So that is pretty much everything in the arena and on the site in general. And then on the side of the map here, I apologise for being in the way of half of this, but every symbol is there and it tells you exactly what it is. So if you are confused about, well, what does that mean? I can't really tell what that looks like. Then it's all there on the side. So for example, there you've got the symbol for the Lone Wolf camping. Now the last few years, Lone Wolf has been in Blue Camp. So I think, yeah, so it's there in the corner of Blue Camp. Now, if you don't know what Lone Wolf camping is, basically, if you're going to download it on your own, then this little part of the campsite, you don't need a special ticket or anything. This has been set up to just basically accommodate people who are going on their own, who don't know anybody there, and who want to make friends while they're there, or maybe feel a bit nervous about camping on their own. So if you want to get to know people beforehand, there are Facebook groups and other social media things, so go and check those out. And that's the overall view of the map there. So make sure you study this, you know exactly where you're going to go, where are you wanting to camp, where are you allowed to camp if you have a certain ticket type. If you've never been to download before, this can be a little bit intimidating, so make sure you study the map. It looks like a lot more than it feels like on site. Not that there's not loads to do, but it just looks very crammed when it's on paper, but when you get there it's fine. But it is quite a large site, so I would say if you're in Blue Camp, if you're trying to walk from Blue Camp to Red Camp, you're talking maybe a 40-minute walk. So now you've got onto the site, you've got your tickets sorted, and you've got your campsite set up. Let's have a look at what you need to bring. The first thing you'll need is an actual tent to sleep in. So we made a video last year going through different types of tents, and it's going to be, I hope that's the right side of the screen there, going to be a card in the corner there. Please go and watch that video because we go through different types of tents, all the way from single layer one-man tents all the way up to 5-man tents with different bedrooms and porches and stuff inside. So for all your tent needs, depending on whether it's just you, whether you're sharing with somebody else, or whether you're using like a big porch area as a kind of makeshift gazebo, we go through all that. We go into detail about how to set them up, the prices of them, and whether they're sturdy, whether they're windproof, waterproof, all that kind of stuff. So please go and check that video out for all your tent needs. Inside your tent then, you're going to need good bedding. For the first few years that I did festivals, I always used to take a roll mat because it was nice and lightweight, it was easy to carry, it didn't take up too much room in the car. But nowadays I always use an air mattress because they are so much comfier. Not that the roll mats are uncomfy, they do the job for the price that you pay, but there is no price that you can put on comfort, especially at a big 5-day festival like Download, where there's lots of walking, you're on your feet quite a lot, sometimes 12+ hour days in the arena. Having an air mattress, a very comfy airbed to come back to, is absolute bliss. On top of that as well, you want a comfy sleeping bag because it can get quite cold of a night at Download. We actually made another video as well about how to budget for a festival where we go through all that kind of bedding equipment and stuff, and that will again be, I hope I'm pointing to the right corner again, that will be in that card there if you want to go and check all that out. But clothes wise, just make sure you're prepared for all kinds of different weather because this is a British summertime festival, and Download is notorious as well for having weather that changes quite drastically, quite quickly. Not looking at anyone in particular, 2016. Wellies are essential, and hiking boots. If the weather's nice, you can probably get away with trainers, but I wouldn't recommend it with all the walking that you're going to be doing. You are going to need something sturdy on your feet and some really comfy socks. As I said earlier, with having a comfy bed to come back to, you're going to be on your feet for very, very long days, and having the right footwear really does make all the difference. Just make sure that you've got enough clothes to last you for the 3 days or the 5 days or however long it is that you're coming for, as well as a change of clothes for coming home on the Monday as well, because if you're getting back into the car or if you're getting on the coach or the train or something home, the last thing you want is to travel in a pair of clothes that are muddy or sweaty or dusty or some combination of all three, because this is Download after all. I tend to take a change of socks, underwear and a t-shirt for every single day, and I'll put them inside a bag, a plastic bag. I'll seal that up and I'll put it into my actual rucksack, and I'll do this 5 times, and then I'll do an extra one as well just in case another pair of clothes gets ruined or soaked or whatever, and then I'll keep an extra set for the Monday coming home. So altogether I will take 7 pairs of socks, 7 pairs of underwear and 7 t-shirts, and then that way I've got something guaranteed to be dry each day. And then when I finish with those, I will, when I get changed of a night, I'll put those dirty clothes into the bag that I took them out of, seal the bag, and then put that bag back into my rucksack. So that way all the dirty clothes aren't getting fresh clothes dirty as well. And that way, if I'm looking for a certain t-shirt or something, I know that I can just put my hand in, have a look at the bag, go, no, that's not it, put it back, and save rooting through and, making a mess all over the tent. For your legs, you're going to need a pair of joggers or something else that can keep you warm in the night, because it can get quite cold quite quickly without realizing it, especially if you're in one of the campsites that's at the top of the hill and is quite exposed, or it's quite windy, or if you've been stood in the arena all day and you've been in the middle of a crowd and suddenly you get back to camp and the crowd isn't there to shield you from the elements anymore. Make sure you've got something on hand as soon as you get back to your tent to get changed into. You can usually get away with a pair of shorts in the daytime if it's quite nice, but again, be prepared for the weather to change quite quickly, because it can do that sometimes, especially of a night time. Jackets are an essential as well. Take a hoodie or something for the night time, and possibly a bigger coat if you think you might need it. Sometimes of a night you can get away if you're lucky with a shirt and shorts combo, but this is very, very rare. I think we've only been able to do that maybe once or twice over the last few years. Just dress however you feel comfortable, dress however you want. No one is going to judge you. It's not a fashion parade, people will just celebrate people being themselves, basically. And an absolute must is to bring ponchos. Now, I don't care if the forecast says that not a drop of rain will pass over Donington for the whole of June. Bring ponchos to Download, because the weather can turn instantly, and as we've found out in years past, you do not want to be stuck without a poncho just in case that happens. You can get cheap ones for less than £1 in some places, so I take a few of them, and then I'll take something a bit more durable, something like this, you know, with a thick hood and stuff on it. And I'll take it in pink because one, it makes me look pretty, and two, people can find me easy in a crowd. They do sell them on site, but they are going to be a little bit more expensive. And if it does start pouring down out of nowhere, then some places might sell out quite quickly. So you're best bringing them with you, keeping them in your bag. Hopefully you won't need to use them, but this is Download we're talking about. Every year, Download has a Fancy Dress Friday with a different theme each year. This year, with it being Friday the 13th, they've gone for the theme of horror films. Download have said, please do not bring replica weapons. I think foam swords and things like that are clearly not real weapons might be okay, but you do run the risk of security maybe confiscating it on the way into the arena. They've also said, please do not wear masks. Now, this seems to be a rule that a lot of people have pushed back on because, you know, if the theme is Friday the 13th and the main character from Friday the 13th wears a mask, it seems to be a little bit of a silly rule, but they've done that so that, you know, there's no one can hide their identity if people are going to be stealing in the crowd or something like that, or get up to any trouble. But this does seem to be a rule that people are pushing back a little bit on. I think people might still bring masks, but only wear them in the village or something. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to disregard the rules. I don't want to get in trouble with Download Festival. Just know that you run the risk of things being confiscated if you bring them. Speaking of the arena, you cannot take bags bigger than A4 in. So I take this. Now I take this to every single gig I go to now. This has 5 big pockets and this can fit my power bank, my poncho, my phone, and a couple of other bits in there as well. There's a lot more room in there than it looks like. So I take that. I think that cost me about £15 from one of the trader stalls at Download one year, and that's, you know, that's well within the size capacity guidelines. And I just wear it like that and clip it in around my neck there, like that, on my chest, so that if anybody does want to try and take anything out of it, they literally have to steal it from under my nose. Briefly mentioned it there, but you will need a power bank of some kind, whether you're just wanting to keep in touch with people, take a couple of photos, or even if you're just trying to pay contactless for things at the vendors, you are going to need some charge on your phone. If you don't have a power bank, or if you can't get one before the festival, then there is charge candy available on site. There is one in District X, I believe, and there's one in the arena as well. And you can either buy a single-use power bank from them and then take it back when it's finished, or you can buy a weekend wristband, and, you know, once you've used that one up, you take it back and you'll get another full one full of charge. A few other essentials to bring: remember that you'll need toiletries like toothpaste and a toothbrush. It sounds obvious, but people do sometimes forget. They do sell them on site, but again, this is going to be at an inflated price. Something that I never go to a festival without is baby wipes. Every morning, take a wipe and just run it behind your ears, because you don't realize when you're sleeping in a canvas tent, you get a lot sweatier. You wake up sweaty, and that's just because the tents are great at keeping the heat in. And just running a baby wipe behind your ears is the perfect way to just make you feel so fresh of a morning even before you want to go and get a shower or anything like that. Another big thing, do not forget toilet roll. Download's toilets win the awards quite regularly for hygiene and cleanliness and stuff. The rolls are replaced quite often. The toilets are cleaned at least twice a day in the campsites, but there is never a guarantee that the portaloo that you use will have a toilet roll in it. So make sure that you've got enough and you're not caught short. I take a 4-pack and that does me just fine over the 5 days. Now, I almost forgot to put this on the list, but bring sun cream. And if you've ever seen any of our videos before, you'll know why that's funny, because I always forget it, and then I always put it on the list for next time, and I always forget it again. So make sure you've got sun cream. Don't do what I do and forget it, because believe me, it does not end well. Remember that the weather can change quite quickly, quite drastically, so just make sure you've got some and that you're prepared and that you're protected. So you know the bands that are playing, you know who you want to go and see, but there's actually a lot of stuff going on in District X in the campsite village over the whole 5 days. So the arena is only open Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and the District X has stuff going on up from the Wednesday basically when you get there, and they're calling it Beyond the Bands. So I'll just read through what they've said this year, because there's actually a lot of new stuff that I'm quite interested in seeing. The Murky and Axe Brewery Bar, where you can find locally brewed beers. The Hair of the Dog Pub, which used to be at Download and hasn't been there for quite a while now, so it's nice to see that come back. Pub complete with rooftop terrace and beer garden, and brand new arena bar, the Iron Harp. Our Low and No Bar, Bar Zero returns, as well as the Raven Records pop-up vinyl store. Very interested to go and check that out as well, which offers alcohol-free options, coffee, and heavy metal talking therapy. For the first time, Download will see live blacksmithing workshops, new immersive experience, Darkfield Seance, and a heavy metal sports day. There will also be axe throwing, skate ramps, a new and improved wellness, yoga and talking therapy offering, wrestling, rock fit, live fire cooking demos, daily themed quizzes, and a bigger and better Download megastore. Old Sarum Tattoo will also be returning to Download this year. This year we'll see over 160 fantastic food traders across the festival, with returning festival favourites and some brand new ones, with more than ever catering to vegan, vegetarian and gluten-free dietary requirements, which I'm sure will make Sam very happy after last year. There will be a huge variety of options on display, from rock and roll toasty to say cheese to illumination. Additionally, the Welders Yard food and drink area will be returning to the top of the main arena, which we spoke about before, on an even larger scale, complete with beer hall, the aforementioned Bar Zero, an array of food options including authentic American smokehouse barbecue, homemade Spanish churros, and Bangladeshi Indian street food. So all of that sounds really interesting. I imagine there's that much to do now at Download that even if you didn't want to see a single band in the arena across the entire festival, there'd still be enough to keep you busy just with the District X stuff. So there is definitely a lot there for your money's worth. So going briefly back to things to bring, this is what you can and can't bring. And I just want to highlight here the cooking stuff. So this says disposable barbecues and permitted cooking stoves, brackets for personal use only, meth stoves with maximum 1 litre methylated fuel or spirits, Tranger stoves with maximum 1 litre Tranger fuel, gel fuel, green heat base camp cookers, firelighter stoves, fuel limited to 1 litre maximum per stove. So you are allowed disposable barbecues. It doesn't actually say it there, but disposable barbecue, well, any cooking stuff really needs to be lifted off the ground. Most disposable barbecues now do come with like a bit of a stand, so you can fold the sides out and it acts as like a, it lifts it off a couple of inches. And they do this basically just because, if the weather is really, really nice, open flames run the risk of fires. The dry grass catches, then somebody's tent's on fire, then all of a sudden there's a wildfire. So obviously, to avoid that, make sure that there's no open flame coming out of whatever you're cooking from, and that it's raised off the floor slightly. There will be security coming round, or stewards coming round, with water tanks if need be, and they will ask you to put it out if the flame is, coming out of wherever it is you're cooking in. Which also means no campfires. Campfires are definitely not allowed at Download, and if you can't put it out yourself, they'll put it out for you. Another thing to bear in mind, you can take drinks bottles into the arena as long as they are 500 millilitres or less and are sealed before you go in, and are plastic, of course, not glass. Glass applies to the entire site, no glass at all. If you're taking alcohol in, like this, for example, that's my Wednesday night sorted. Now that's in a glass bottle, and I'm going to have to put that into a plastic bottle to get it through security. And an absolute no-no is this one here. Drones or other unmanned aerial vehicles. Download is right next to East Midlands Airport, and the airport have security concerned about people bringing drones and stuff in the past, and have threatened to cancel Download's license if people keep bringing drones and using them without permission. It puts the festival at risk, and obviously that would disappoint a lot of people and would cost a lot of money to sort out. So please do not bring them. Don't think, I'll get away with it because the airport have detection systems. Please do not ruin Download for everybody, please. Same again with paper lanterns or sky lanterns, because they'll, they could go up into the air and get in the way of planes and cause disruptions. So again, that puts the festival at risk. If you do need clarification on something, if you're thinking of bringing something and you think, would this be allowed or not, then it's all on the Download website. Just come to things you can/can't bring, and it's all there, and it will tell you, is it allowed in the arena, is it allowed in the campsites, because some things you can take into the campsites but you can't take into the arena as well. So that is your trusty handy guide there, and just if security say anything, just say, well, this is what it says on the website. This is kind of your safety net basically. If the website says you can bring it, then you're all good. Now, Download has been going for 22 years now, and in that time, the community have developed some cultural things that you should be aware of. The entire festival culture of Download is really friendly. Everyone is there to have a good time, and people will almost always look after someone if they think they're in need or if they think they're in trouble. There are lots of security hubs and stewards patrolling the site at all times. Every campsite has a security hub and a watchtower. So if you do need anything, that is going to be a point of call for you to go to. Or there will be stewards walking around. Don't feel afraid to reach out to them if you need help with anything. As we've mentioned, Download is right next door to East Midlands Airport, and it's directly in the flight path of some incoming and outgoing flights which means you are going to see and hear a lot of planes over the weekend. Now, over the years, the download community have turned this into a drinking game. So if you see or hear a plane going overhead, you simply shout, "Plane!" and then everybody in the campsite takes a drink. Doesn't matter if it's alcoholic or not, the main part is just getting involved. And I think that's a great way to approach download in general, to be honest. Everybody's there to have fun, and the more you embrace that and the more you lean into that, the better weekend it will be. Things like if you're coming back from the arena after the bands have finished to the campsite, along with thousands of other people, there will be spontaneous a cappella sing-alongs, and if you do know the words to any songs, you are legally required to join in. Don't be afraid to get your own songs going. The sillier or the cheesier, the better. Some other helpful tips: the phone signal isn't always great, but there are pockets where you'll be able to contact people or scroll mindlessly on the social media of your choice. But because the signal isn't always guaranteed, we try and make meetup points for everyone to find each other at, especially in the arena. So we can either use the Ferris wheel at the top of the hill. Sometimes we've used the medical tent, although you've got to be careful not to block any of the doors. But this could be something as simple as an ice cream van or one of the bars or a food vendor, as long as it works for you and everybody in your group knows that they're on the same page. Almost everything at download now is completely cashless, so if you do need any money, make sure you've transferred it over into the correct bank account before you get to the site, so, again, there's no trouble with any signal. Over the last few years, people have said that there have been some vendors in the arena in particular that have tried to overcharge on food and things. Now, a great way to get around this is to just pretend that your card doesn't have contactless working on it and that you need to put the card into the machine, and that way you can actually see the amount on the screen. You are allowed to ask, by the way, to see the price or to ask how much you are being charged. So, if you have any suspicions about that, please don't feel bad about just asking to see the total before you actually pay it and avoid being ripped off. The arena opens on Friday at midday and the bands will start from about 1 p.m. And then Saturday and Sunday, the arena opens at 10 a.m. and the bands will start from 11 a.m. And then all the bands will have finished by 11 p.m. And then they usually keep the arena open just a little bit longer while people meet up, get a drink, go to the toilet and head back to camp. But this won't be much longer than half an hour to an hour. There is no official curfew to the campsite, but once the District X party stops around 3 a.m, that's usually the time where people are told to just be a bit quieter if you're wanting to keep the party going in the campsites. Just remember that not everyone wants to party all night, so just be respectful to people around you. Most of the food vendors in the campsites themselves will be 24-hour. Downloaders follow the leave no trace policy, which means it's common courtesy to put all your rubbish in bin bags at the campsite and then take them to the nearest recycling points throughout the weekend. There are going to be recycling points pretty much near every toilet block and in a few other places as well. Or at the end of the festival, leave bags tidy at your campsite, and that way stewards can just come and collect them and throw them in the back of the lorry that goes round on the last day collecting rubbish. Please try and take all your camping gear with you, but if you can't take anything with you for whatever reason, please take these to the recycling points as well, or go and donate it to one of the charity hubs because they are after donations. Please keep the site tidy and clean because that way we get to come back and use it year after year. And the last thing I very briefly want to talk about is the app. Now, we did a couple of videos looking at the lineup and the District X things, and the app itself, the schedule and stuff. So if you want to go and see more information about that, go and watch those videos. Today, I just want to very briefly look at, so you can link your ticket to the app, and that way, you can just access it straight through that. And if there's no signal when you get to the site, again, you can just access your ticket through there, so there's no issues. And again, very briefly, it's got all your artists on there, the schedule of every single day, including the District X lineups, and all the information that you could ever need is in that app. So definitely download the app and make use of it as much as possible over the weekend. Now, speaking of apps, the last thing I want to mention is the Co-op. The Co-op at Download sells everything from sandwiches and snacks and soft drinks to crates of alcohol, breakfast things, toiletries, all that kind of stuff. It opens at 7 a.m. every morning and it will stay open all the way through till 3 a.m. the next morning. Just remember that this means it closes at 3 a.m., not that the last entrance is 3 a.m. So you probably want to get in there before 2:30 if you want to get some late night snacks. But the best thing for me is that with the Co-op app, and I promise this is not sponsored by Co-op, the Co-op app saves you an absolute load of money. Last year, I think our first purchase with the app saved us about £12 on the first order, and then throughout the weekend there's loads of offers. I think there was a big 2 litre bottle of Pepsi Max that was half price one of the days. It was buy one get one free on bags of Doritos at some point. So there's loads of little offers going on throughout the weekend, as well as the offers that you can get on your app yourself, but that can be a great way to save you a bit of extra money throughout the weekend. So that is everything you need to know about Download Festival 2025. Are you going this year? Is it your first time, or have you been before? Is there anything you think that we've missed? Have you got any helpful camping tips? Let us know down below. If you want to check out what it's really like on site, then you can go and watch some of our vlogs from previous years. We'll be there this year as always, so feel free to come and say hi to us if you see us there. We're also doing our massive meetup with a few other amazing creators. That will be on the Thursday at 5 PM in District X. We're still finalising the details of where exactly we're going to be, so make sure you come and follow us on Instagram and you stay tuned to this channel, because all the information will be posted there when we get it. And if you want to see everything that we get up to this year and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below. If you want to be the first to see that video when it drops, then come support us on Patreon. The link is in the description down below. You'll get early access to videos, some exclusive stuff that won't be going on YouTube, and loads more. Come and join our Discord where we talk music, festivals, gigs, and basically loads of other random nonsense. Thanks very much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Toodles!